In this game, player takes control of a group of 6 allied commandos in stealth missions across wartime Europe and Africa using small unit tactics. The Commandos starts in Norway, February 1941. Since the retreat from Narvik in June last year, Norway has remained under German occupation. The Luftwaffe has established important airfields at Trondheim, Herdla and Stavanger. The first mission is to attack a poorly defended relay station at Sola to block the radio communications for some hours, which will delay German reinforcements. The Green Beret, the driver and the Marine landed at different points, so they establish a meeting point. Then the Marine takes the team across to the island with a stolen boat. Once there, they blow up the station using fuel barrels and the driver gets the boys out safely. Up next, Operation Claymore. The first medium-scale incursion over Norway is approved. The objectives to neutralize industrial facilities and merchant ships in the Loften Islands, recruit Norwegian volunteers and capture supporters of the collaboratist leader Vidkun Quisling. Team lands in the Stamsund area, infiltrates a heavily defended camp near Stjornfort. Evading the attention of surveillance turrets and patrols, they blow up the fuel depots inside. This shortens the range of enemy armor division for some days. Reported incursions in Norway must be organized in order to harass the occupation army and force Hitler to send troops to the zone, diverting them from the Mediterranean scenario. The objective of the next operation is to demolish a large dam of Sissendam near the Sima hydroelectric power plant in Eddifjord. This way, several important bridges will be knocked down and the whole area will be left without electric supply. The unit steals some powerful charges from inside the transformer station. Only Supper can handle them. The perimeter of the station is electrified, but the fan circuit can be turned off with a control switch. The spy in the unit is able to impersonate as any German commander. He gets a German uniform and enemy soldiers salute him all the way. Then it's all down the hill. Supper places the explosives power plants, turns into a fireworks show and the truck picks up the team. In mid-March, the blitz over Britain becomes harder than ever. Churchill realizes the role of successful incursions behind enemy lines to preserve the morale of the nation. The German military command in the Norwegian city of Trondheim has set their headquarters in a nearby villa in Stokkan. The Commandos unit must destroy the headquarters and bring mayhem in the zone. Support equipment has been parachuted, but unfortunately it has touched ground too far to the north. Each piece of equipment can be handled only by the man able to use it. After collecting the equipment, unit attacks the villa and sees as much damage as possible. Then they capture the patrol boat and escape northwards by sea. Next mission is to destroy a radar station near the airfield of Herdla. This will blind the coastal defenses and give occupation army a good reason to worry. Access to the top section can only be gained by means of a cable car or by climbing the rocky wall to the east. There's an initial telephone system in the bottom section of the complex that can be used to attract the attention of the guards. Unit knocks down the radar station and escapes with autogyro. Norwegian Spring advances Operation Barbarossa. The German attack on the Soviet Union is being prepared for the next month. Several essays are taking place in Norway. As part of this rehearsal, a long-range cannon Leopold will be used to attack some positions of the Norwegian resistance, before being carried to the Eastern Front. The unit must shut down the dangerous weapon, and that's exactly what they do, with the Marine taking down the guards while Supper is planting the explosives. In the first day of February 1942, the Germans shift to a new cipher code for radio communications with the U-boats. This will mean the loss of one of the biggest weapons against the enemy: the ability to decode German messages. A group of U-boats is making an intermediate stop at the Norwegian port of Arendal. Divided into two groups, team takes the necessary explosive charges, finds their way to the U-boats, destroys them, and escapes southwards to the point marked by the boy, using a light boat. From this point, the unit is extracted to Africa. It's late October 1942. Since the arrival of General Montgomery to El Alamein, those preparations are taking place both in British and Rommel's German-Italian lines. The Battle of El Alamein is about to begin. In the meantime, the Commandos lead small harassing incursions against Rommel positions. They infiltrate the camp and blow up all the oil boilers, the fuel depots, and a large reservoir of Tel El Isla, which leaves a whole armed division without supplies. Meanwhile, English General Montgomery builds up an overwhelming superiority in men and equipment before starting the offensive. In order to disconnect Rommel's troops before the attack, commando unit is taken across the line of minefields in Bab el-Khatara to the camp of the 21st Panzer Division. There they await down and destroy the detection equipment and weapons store, the command post and the bunker. 10 days after the end of battle at El Alamein, which brought a dramatic exchange of roles in North Africa, Rommel's troops have retreated to the Libyan city of El Aghelia. Captain Gregor McCree from the Royal Air Force has been hit while in a reconnaissance flight over German positions and taken as a prisoner near the airfield of El Aghelia. So, guess who's coming to save him? Team recovers McCree and destroys the bomb star to the south of the base. During the mission, they capture a tank, and to get away, they take a Junkers 52 in the nearby airfield, plus wreck some Stukas on the way to the safety. It's December 3rd, 1942. The Axis forces have commenced a strong counteroffensive from Tunisia. Meanwhile, small incursions is made in the Libyan zones under enemy control. The unit is sent to cut supplies and communications and gather information about the real strength of Rommel's forces. At the oil fields of Maradeh, they destroy the drilling rigs. In the course of a covert operations to gather information about the Axis defense, German soldiers have caught up the commando unit in a sweep. They managed to run away and now they are scattered around the city. A small operation has been set up to rescue them. The spy, dressed as a German officer, distracts the Nazi soldiers while Commandos is cleaning the way for the other members to escape the city. And now the unit is transferred to France. A replica of Bismarck has been built in the port of Le Havre to patrol the coast of Normandy. The French resistance helped to put 4 men there. Now they must sabotage that ship to facilitate future operations in the zone. Nearby there is a powerfully armed mini-submarine. Team brings it close to the battleship and launches one torpedo against the forward section of the hull. Then they use a light boat to get southwards to the buoy. It's the end of May 1944. Everything is ready for an Operation Overlord. At both sides of the English Channel, tension mounts. The last air photographs show 4 powerful cannons placed near La Riveraie in the area codenamed Juno. There is a serious threat to the landings. So enough said, they need to be taken down. And who are you gonna call? German troops have retreated from Paris to the northwest. One of the first high commands to leave Paris was SS Gruppenführer Helmut Schlapper, also known as the Butcher of Paris, for his outrages on members of the French resistance. Fleeing from judgment, Schlapper was withdrawn to the village of Campine, where he will be led to Berlin next morning with a list of members of the German resistance. Commando unit is sent to eliminate him before he escapes. They kill him while he is on his morning walk and escape by a truck. In September 1944, the Allies begin to rapid advance over Belgium. A strong determination leads the Allied command to cross the Rhine. Preparation for Operation Market Garden are being arranged. As the German forces retreat behind the Siegfried Line, they try to demolish the bridge over Maas River, north of Liège, in order to block the way of Allied troops. The mission is to avoid the blow-up at all costs. The enemy has placed some explosive devices on the bridge. Every one of them has one enemy sapper in charge. Their orders are to keep a close watch on each other and detonate their devices if anything suspicious happens. Therefore, the team has to deal with them almost simultaneously. And of course, escape as usual. Despite the failure of Operation Market Garden, the Allied forces continue their drive forward the Rhine. At the time this happens, the whole France has not yet been liberated. In Revelvier, a small town north of Colmar, the French resistance leader Claude Gilbert has been arrested along with some of his collaborators, and he will be executed soon. The mission is to free the prisoners and bring them safe to the Allied lines. In order to infiltrate the camp, one of the men is discovered and arrested on purpose. While having an inside man, the rest goes smooth and Gilbert is safe along with his man. And of course, they escape by a truck. In December 16, 1944, Hitler deploys a new surprise operation. German reserve forces break through Allied defenses in the Ardennes region. In order to cut off a rapid advance of enemy reinforcements, our commando team infiltrates north of Liège and blow up the bridge over the Maas River. It's very similar to the September mission, but this time sides changed. Instead of protecting the bridge, team finds an explosive charge, places it over the bridge and makes sure it's destroyed. June 1945, while the whole of France is liberated by Allied troops, the Soviets reach the devastated Warsaw. Berlin is the next stop for the Red Army. Meanwhile, the V-2 missiles, the last hope of the Führer, begin to be launched against London and other Allied points. Reconnaissance flights have spotted a V-2 launching center in a small industrial setting at Oldenburg, west of Bremen. Commando unit is sent to destroy the launching pods before the missiles are launched against London. Since the Soviet army has entered East Prussia, the end of the Third Reich seems to be imminent. Suddenly, a secret teletype casts a dark shadow over a confident Allied command. Detailed technical plans of Fat Man, the first nuclear bomb developed in the Manhattan Project, have been stolen by a Nazi spy and led across the Atlantic to the Gundelfingen Castle, north of Freiburg. From there, they'll be taken to an underground secret base somewhere in the Carpathians, where a German atom bomb is in the final stage of development. Team needs to enter the castle and put an end to this terrible threat. With no details and no plan, they just have to act basing on their instinct. It's a mission impossible, but they find a way to enter the fortress and raze it to the ground. The last hope of Nazis is destroyed, and soon after, the war ends with the capitulation of Germany and Japan. And that was the storyline of the Commandos behind enemy lines. This game aged well, and I strongly recommend you to give it a try. If you like the video, leave a thumbs up and subscribe my channel. Also, let me know in the comment section what game should I explain in my next video.